What's going on, people? What's going on, self? So, it is 6:41 a.m. and I've been down here in my cave, if you want to call it that, um, for maybe about an hour and a half. Um, just kind of cleaning up, just kind of vibing. Um, And I came to the point where I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to talk about something very important, look into something very important, and kind of do it, you know, for everybody to see in real time. So, I've been talking about going through the gates and all of that kind of stuff. Uh, and I was going to start with the first gate and move, from there into, all the way to 64. But today, I think I want to start with gate 4, gene key 4. Um, I feel really good. Um, Basically, what's happened is I've been noticing in the world, uh, okay, I've been noticing a lot of, um, how shall I say, youthful folly in the world. A lot of young people requesting me on social media. Ah, that's funny because I definitely saw that and said it, posted it. I just realized I said that I foresaw more young people coming to me for services. Uh, I didn't know why until just now, but um, wow, that's crazy how that gift works. Anyway, um, I've been seeing a lot of young people coming around me on social media in particular, and then spending more time with my children and you know all of that kind of stuff, and seeing, excuse me, seeing where, excuse me, seeing where their youth hinders their progress. Um, where they make hasty decisions or things like that. And the mistress has been talking to me for some time about an issue, not an issue, but just something she sees in me. Um, and, I've always heard her, but I think now it's really starting to, um, hit me because I'm seeing it in everybody around me. So, and to add to that, this particular gate or gene key is my only activated gate that I have in an undefined center. And if you know, in human design, um, when you have a gate that's activated in an undefined center, it denotes or it shows you that this particular um, theme that this gate deals with is a theme or a lesson that was not learned in a past lifetime, according to Ra. So, with that in mind, this is the only gate I have like that. The rest of my design is full single definition, all connected between all my centers. So it shows me, number one, my potential to be able to um, give all of my design in service to um, people, and the my ancestors and the divine and all of these kinds of things. But the one thing that's holding me back is this gate slash gene key 4. And so I really wanted to like dive into this, um, and learn this lesson, at least contemplate learning this lesson. So um, let's do it. I was I was turning to it earlier because I was actually recording this at first, but I was like, you know what, this is gonna be a long video, and I ain't got enough room on my on my phone or whatever. But when I was grabbing the book, I was like, I feel like uh, I'm getting ready to preach a sermon. Like, turn to me to the book of Gene Keys. uh, the book of Gene Keys, chapter 4, whatever. Um, yeah. So let's do this. I like this. I like flowing the way I flow. And if you with me, you with me. If you got the patience. Anyway, the fourth gene key, a universal panacea, whatever that means. And I must also say that I've already breathed, but I'm going to do it again because I would like for all of us to receive what we need to receive. Breathing is the best way to prepare yourself to download, straight up. So, from spirit, because breath is spirit. So, we're going to meditate for a quick second. Not meditate, just breathe for a quick second. Um, Honor who we need to honor. I've already named my ancestors, called them in. I may say a couple things, but if you're with me, you're with me. All right. Won't be long. Relax, 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 relax. Relax the body. Make it receptive. Uh, I'm gonna grab clear quartz and tiger's eye, grounding. Okay. Relax. From the very point of thought all the way down through your being, every physical part of your being, every ethereal part of your being, all the way down to your cells. Relax, relax. Rest in trust. Rest in the trust you have in spirit, in those that are guiding you. Now, keep breathing, keep breathing. Now, open up your heart. Open up your heart. If you're relaxed but attentive, attention, awareness is in the present moment. Breathe through your heart. Breathe through the vessel of love. The birds are singing. um, and through the heart, through the heart, um, let us ask for wisdom according to the fourth gene key. If you have not already named your ancestors, name them. Those who are elevated, those who had uh, wisdom, name them, honor them, think about them, and ask for their wisdom with this. This is what I've done. So, now, as you do that, I'm going to dive in and we're going to learn together. I appreciate you. Fourth gene key, a universal panacea. The shadow is intolerance, the gift is understanding, and the city is forgiveness. The programming partner is the 49th gene key. The physiology is the neocortex. The codon ring is the ring of union. And the amino acid. Oh, hold on. The ring of union, this is gate 4, gate 7, gate 29, gate 59. The amino acid is valine. The fourth shadow, intolerance, the folly of youth. When the ancient Chinese named this fourth hexagram of the I Ching, they gave it the wonderful name Youthful Folly. And in doing so, they showed a profound understanding of its lower nature. The fourth shadow, the shadow of intolerance, is rooted in the mind's habit of becoming tangled up with human emotions. Intolerance is best understood, through its relationship to its programming partner, the 49th shadow of reaction. Because human beings are governed by their emotions, the general emotional state of humanity is unstable and chaotic. We tend to react to our whims instead of attuning to the quiet, clear guidance that lies within each of us. In reacting to our own and others' emotions, we decide that what we feel must be the truth, and our mind agrees with us. The fourth shadow is essentially a misuse of one of the great gifts of the human mind, logic. The power of this fourth gene key is the power to read and solve logical patterns, and as we shall see in the case of the fourth gift, this ability leads you to a universal understanding of the rhythmic patterns and tendencies of all life. However, at a low frequency based on emotional reaction or overreaction, this shadow uses the power of distorted logic to support. Hold on. Let me read that again. However, at a low frequency based on emotional reaction or overreaction, this shadow uses the power of distorted logic to support and uphold its volatile nature. In other words, if the fourth shadow has a bad day and it decides it doesn't like someone, it will find a whole list of logical reasons to support its dislike. Definitely experienced that. This is what intolerance really is, a slanted perspective of logic. At the shadow frequency, the mind is actually given the authority to make important life decisions, and this is often disastrous because its true role is not to decide anything. Its true role is to understand and communicate. The aptness of the name Youthful Folly becomes apparent when you see what happens as this shadow reaches an extreme emotional state. At the shadow frequency, you identify absolutely with your emotional state, which defines the way you live your life. Any unresolved emotional pattern is taken up by your mind and built into a highly intricate logical framework that masquerades as the absolute truth through the medium of the fourth shadow. Opinions, judgments, and resentments are transmuted into convictions and certainties. In this way, people blind themselves with their own logic and can become deluded and sometimes dangerous. Intolerance is based on a subjective distortion of logic which only measures those patterns that a person wants to see, rather than seeing all patterns from both sides of an argument. The power of the fourth gift of understanding is founded upon this ability to objectively assess all aspects of a viewpoint, thus avoiding the pitfall of taking sides. The human logical mind is actually not designed to take sides. The essence of logic is its foundation upon objectivity. But in the hands of fear, objectivity dies and logic becomes subjective, even at a collective level. You may wonder how something can be both collective and subjective. Racism and prejudice are examples of genetic or ancestral fears that manifest through certain population groups who then reinforce these fears through subjective logical argumentation. Even science is rarely truly objective unless it remains open to all counter arguments. In the case of science, a counter argument might come from religion, which challenges logic as the only means of acquiring truth. Only when science is skeptical of its very own nature can it really be regarded as truly objective. The fourth shadow forms a very subtle undercurrent to all human mental structures, from the scientific to the spiritual. It cannot help taking sides. The underlying nature of all the shadow states is fear. Absolutely. I'm going to turn this light up for a second. Oh, come on, man. All right, better. The underlying nature of all the shadow states is fear. It is the case of the fourth. In the case of the fourth shadow, fear is projected onto others and then reinforced through taking a defensive and sometimes offensive mental position. Wow. This is how intolerance is created, and it is sometimes extremely subtle. Intolerance bases its position on opinion rather than fact. Oh, there's so much to contemplate here. Like, I'm trying to get through this because I really want to read all of it. But, oh, there's so much to contemplate here. But I'm going to come back. Yeah, yeah, I'll come back. If you took the time, okay, so this is how intolerance is created and is sometimes extremely subtle. Intolerance bases its position on opinion rather than fact. If you took the time to examine the other side of the argument, you would immediately understand that your opinion is rooted in a deep seated emotional fear of something. The great problem with logic is that it can only disprove itself, which does not make human beings feel at all secure. Therefore, most people choose one single side of an argument because it makes them feel a certain mental solidity. Ironically, however, mental assuredness cannot make the body feel safe. The body can only feel safe when it surrenders to the moment without wanting something else. The fourth shadow is endlessly restless in its need to examine patterns and resolve questions. One answer is simply replaced by another question. The role of this gene key is to understand, but understanding cannot come through the mind itself. This is the essence of the fourth shadow's dilemma, and it keeps many people from realizing its gift. Understanding, as we shall see, only comes when you realize that your mind can never truly understand anything. Before you come to this huge inner realization, you will live your life under the influence of the fourth shadow and its persistent promise that it will one day arrive at an answer that brings you lasting peace. This is youthful folly, because only after much anguish and experience do you come to realize that there are no intellectual answers that bring about such peace. There are only two options for the fourth shadow. You either settle for a one-sided opinion and deny the other side, or you become lost in the fruitless quest to bring an end to the feeling of uncertainty that lies deep within you. Unless you make the leap into the true understanding of the fourth gift, you have no choice but to be caught in eternal misunderstanding and intolerance. Now, each gene key, each gate, has a repressive nature and a reactive nature. Okay? Repressive nature, apathetic. When the mental dynamism of this fourth gene key is frozen by the unconscious fear of a repressive nature, the result is an apathetic mind. An apathetic mind is a collapsed mind that is no longer bright or intelligent but has given up on understanding anything and sunk into a kind of mental lethargy. These people believe themselves to be less intelligent than others when in fact they are really paralyzed by an unconscious fear. Their fear is that they will have to assume responsibility for themselves, their decisions, and their actions. Instead, they choose to have no opinions about anything. Such people can pretend to be quite enlightened and very open, but there is a vital energy lacking inside them. Thus, they can have problems in motivation as well as with their health. To escape their apathy, they simply have to start thinking again, but without letting their thinking rule their lives. Ah, reactive nature, nitpicking. In the reactive nature, thinking does rule a person's life. The reactive nature projects out its eternal need for answers to questions, and it does so in the belief that these answers will bring them a sense of security. When they discover that this is not so, they become angry and blame someone, often the person or system that they supposed would give them all the answers. Hold on a second. Oh man, I gotta sit with that for a second. Hmm. Okay. Okay. These people cannot let go of their need for some feeling of resolution, so they make their mind the authority for bringing about this feeling, only to be endlessly disappointed. These people hone in on the most irrelevant details, unconsciously looking for a vent for their frustration. When they find such a detail, it affords them the opportunity to criticize or complain and thus release some of their pent up anger and tension. These people, above all, need to find a way to not, sorry, need to find a way to let go of the hope that their mind can ever bring them solace. When they do this, they can finally stop projecting their eternal disappointment onto others and begin to find a new awareness arising in them outside of their mind. Listen, I gotta sit with this for a second. I gotta talk about this experience because um, I have absolutely been in the shadow of the fourth gene key, the fourth gate. I see now. Not that I haven't seen before, but it's, as I said, this is the one blind spot for me. And being with a woman who happens to have uh, gate 63, which completes the channel with gate 4, I've been able to see myself, this side of myself, because the electromagnetic connection between us mentally, because of those two gates, uh, she shows me that part of myself. She recognizes the shadow of that, and she speaks on it. She recognizes the nitpicking. It's I could jump into a whole bunch of um, examples of both of those repressive and reactive natures. Um, I think more repressive. Well, no, both, 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 and she has shown me um, that this is absolutely a weak spot for me. This is my mind. Remember, this is in my personality Mercury. I wish I had my. I need to print out my chart to have up, so I can just look at it when I'm doing these. But uh, my person, because I want to see what house this is, uh, but I can't remember at the moment. Anyway, um, this is my mind. This is my Leo. This is my, you know, uh, because gate 4 or gene key 4 is a Leo gate, right? And so I'm curious now to read the gift and the city of this gene key, because I have been recognizing this. I have been seeing that I really don't like the way this mustache is looking, but whatever. Take me as I am. Um, and I was talking to myself. um, this is a point of focus. This is something I have to make sure I am contemplating daily. Um, to transcend to the higher frequencies of this. And I believe that I am. That's why I'm curious to read the gift and the city of this, um, because I am recognizing the young people around me. I am recognizing the folly in what they do, and in that way, it helps me to recognize my own folly. Um, because everybody can be a mirror. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and read more of this. Ah. If you're someone with powerful intellectual capacities, the fourth gift represents a wonderful breath of fresh air for you. At the same time, it requires a huge quantum leap in your whole being. The gift of understanding has nothing whatsoever to do with knowledge. Hold on, man, because this shadow is. I do feel. I remember. I don't want to feel that feeling again of my woman, um, or anyone, but specifically the person closest to me, feeling that nitpicking, feeling um, that focusing on these irrelevant details and trying to. I don't. The way that feels to me, and it's crazy how I experience this because I have a wide open solar plexus, so I feel all of her emotional definition and what she feels from what I'm doing, right? But at the same time, in my mind, it's like, but this and that and this and that, but what, but that, but because I feel like I'm right because logically this da 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 da, and I might even be right, but that's irrelevant. It's like the shadow of this is like it's attacking, and I don't want uh, that fire because it is a fire element as a Leo gate. I don't want that fire that burns people uh, to burn the one that I love most because I feel the emotional, that mirror, that emotional mirror. I don't want anybody to feel that way. And it's not. I'm not saying all this to say that I've been like verbally abusive or anything like that. Like I have not. But in my experiences, I'm just looking back, not even just in this relationship, but even in my past, um, where that is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I'm kind of having a moment right now, live. Hey, it's whatever. Raw. And I've apologized, but it's just crazy to put all of this together. The fourth gift. Let's start again. Quantum koans. The fourth gift is understanding. If you are someone with powerful intellectual capacities, the fourth gift represents a wonderful breath of fresh air for you. At the same time, it requires a huge quantum leap in your whole being. The gift of understanding has nothing whatsoever to do with knowledge. Knowledge is what your mind thinks it needs in order to take away its permanent feeling of unease. But knowledge can never bring a sense of peacefulness. At most, it can give you the hope that peace, it is the very although ironically, it is this very hope that sustains your intellectual quest and keeps you within the confines of the shadow frequency. Only true understanding can bring peace along with it, because true understanding lies outside the domain of the mind. Understanding is of the whole being, and it does not and cannot require agreement from the cognitive capacities within your brain. If you allow the fourth gene key to run its natural course without giving it the responsibility to make decisions, it actually does something quite magical. It propels your awareness out of the mind. The very desperation of the mind to come to understanding through knowledge constantly thwarts itself by looking at life from every conceivable angle. Let's read that again. If you allow the fourth gene key to run its natural course without giving it the responsibility to make decisions, it actually does something quite magical. It propels your awareness out of the mind. Oh my goodness. I just experienced this. I was writing about this yesterday. This is crazy. Okay. I need to write. I need to write this. I need to finish that. Anyway, the very desperation of the mind is to come to understanding through knowledge constantly thwarts itself by looking at life from every conceivable angle. At a certain point, all this pent up energy explodes into a quantum leap out of the mind. This is precisely how the concept of the Zen koan operates. A koan is a paradox given to the mind to solve, and at the precise moment when the mind has finally realized that its own logic can never solve the koan, understanding dawns. This quantum leap is true understanding, which is a feeling of knowing that floods your whole body and radiates from the solar plexus area. From the solar plexus area. Korotha Kofe. Listen, we we just talked about this in this video. This is where that awareness comes from, because I feel it from others. How, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm at the gift. Okay, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of myself. At least we shall see. We shall see. Because see, this is what I when I was recording it earlier, I was thinking it kind of shows me. Mm, and my understanding beyond my mind says, stop logicizing why it happened. You're here. You're here. Understanding. Understanding. I'm these are good tears. But of course they come from uh they come from a place of gratitude, um, that I am transcending this intolerance of mine. It's a sense of gratitude because I couldn't see myself anymore. And like, because I was always nitpicking others, and my life and my relationship has shown me uh, myself to the point where I can see now how I'm evolving and how I've gotten to a higher frequency. That is important to me because my whole drive in life, um, my whole uh, purpose is to evolve and mutate. I have an extremely mutative design. And my life is showing me um, where I have to mutate, where I have to change, where I have to, you know, allow other possibilities. Uh, which has allowed me to go beyond my mind and understand beyond logic. Not just myself, but others. But to be able to say I'm here at a place of true understanding is, it definitely feels like a quantum leap. I should have written this in my quantum leap journal that I have over here. I'll transcribe it. um, so, the gift of understanding is the only answer that will satisfy a person's dissatisfaction. And it must come about through the exhaustion of your mind rather than any other way. Oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. When you look logically at all angles of any concept, you begin to realize that nothing can ultimately be proved. Wait, that nothing can ultimately be proved through logic, because logic can always be used to prove the opposite. When you finally see this, your whole being lightens because you realize once and for all that the mind is of no use for resolving anything of real importance. This in turn releases the mind to do what it loves best: research and communicate and play. Literally doing all these things right now. I'm researching myself, I'm communicating with you, and I'm playing, I'm preaching, you know what I'm saying? Like, when the fourth gift is freed from having to solve your existence, it finally comes into its real genius. To play with the patterns of existence and arrange them in new and original ways. When you have the feeling of visceral understanding deep in your belly, your mind is no longer hampered by the need to defend your own viewpoint. In fact, you realize that all logical formula can be manipulated to prove or disprove anything. Oh my goodness. I was thinking this like 2 days ago. The higher frequency of such understanding also brings with it the urge to be of service to the world, and you can use the mental alacrity. That's what I said in my prayer to my ancestors before I started, to be of service to the world. And you can use the mental alacrity, I don't know what that means, of the fourth gift to follow the dictates of your higher self. This newfound genius at seeing the underlying patterns of life also affords you direct access into another aspect of this fourth gift, the ability to understand people. Through seeing all sides of any mental construct, the gift of understanding sweeps aside the possibility of intolerance and uses its gifts to create new roles or systems to bring positive change into the world. The programming partner of the fourth gift is the 49th gift of revolution, and this energy always accompanies true understanding. The programming partner of the fourth gift is the 49th gift of revolution, and this energy always accompanies true understanding. The very nature of understanding is to bring about improvement for society in general, since the dynamic energy within this fourth gift is still experienced as a certain restlessness. Whereas at the shadow level, this was the restlessness to resolve your own insecurity. At the gift frequency, this becomes the restlessness to resolve the insecurity within society in general. Thus, understanding always carries within it the seed intention to solve the problems of intolerance and division in the world. I wish I had some music playing at this moment, but it's okay. The silence brings understanding. Yes. In the coming genetic shift, triggered through the 55th gene key, 2027, that's what he's referring to. In the coming genetic shifts triggered through the 55th gene key and the 49th gene key, the role of this fourth gift will undergo some very important genetic changes, which will gradually sweep through humanity. The involution of powerful Siddic, Siddhic, Siddhic, like Buddhic kind of thing. The involution of powerful Siddic energy from the highest aspect of this archetype will bring about a minor but extremely important genetic mutation in this fourth gene key and its associated amino acid valine. This mutation will essentially phase out the fourth shadow of intolerance. The children that come into the world carrying this new sequence of mutations will not be emotionally polarized. Their mental system will not run riot throughout their lives. The fourth gift of understanding, this is why I'm important and I'm watching myself talk right now from this understanding space. This is insane to experience in my logical mind. Anyway, this is why a person like me, a quad right, is instrumental for the future. To have this understanding for the children that come later is will allow me to communicate in a way that many people will not. But anyway, just a note for myself. The fourth gift of understanding will govern the way in which their minds operate from birth. It will bring about a social revolution on a global level, and this revolution will be based upon a logical understanding of the folly of the existing systems and structures. New formula will come into the world through this fourth gift and will undoubtedly lead to technological breakthroughs that solve long-standing problems rather than create new ones. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a thing. The fourth city, and I say a thing in reference to not just myself, but the world, people who have this gate or this gene key and have gotten to this place of understanding, true understanding. And this is something I'm working on too. I'm not saying that I've arrived at all. But because forgiveness, the fourth city, I'm not, I'm inching there. You know, I'm a very forgiving person, but uh, I feel the inklings. I feel the inklings of this. Before I even read this, I can say that I've been feeling that. Oh, this is been such a deep, transcendent period of my life. I'm realizing in this moment because it's showing how fast I'm evolving here in this place where we live now, where we've moved. Um, and the deep emotional purging that has taken place during a depression, during the winter, my first real time in my life experiencing living in winter, hibernating, allowing myself to heal from deep seated stuff. Um, and now working through, my shadows, not even just in my past, the deep seated stuff, but my shadows in my current relationship. And this is not, this is a blessing. This is a blessing, huge blessing. Like the fact that I can be so grateful right now, and even in the midst of them, I wrote something a while back. Uh, Being so grateful in the midst of uh, my shadow work. I remember having conversations with the mistress and, uh, just crying and purging and talking about some of the hardest things. And in those moments, realizing like I've wanted for a very long time to be able to get this deep. I've wanted for a very long time to be able to uh, have these kinds of conversations at these depths, this this level of nakedness in my relationship, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. Oh man, this relationship is divine. I promise you. 9-0, nowhere to go. 9-0, nowhere to go. Divine. That's why I wrote a book about you. If you're watching this, I love you. I hope she's watching this. I'm talking about the mistress, the love of my life, so on and so forth. Anyway, divine. Divine. Yet another realization, another understanding. The fourth city, forgiveness. Merciless forgiveness. Not only will the coming shift bring about a social revolution, but it will also bring an end to one of the great searches of modern man, the search for knowledge. Through the rupturing of the fourth shadow, understanding will take the place of knowledge, and much of the thrust of our modern world will die down. I know no one is watching right now, and I'm as real as they come, so I'm not going to leave you, but I am going to go use the bathroom and come right back and vibe with y'all. So if you want to take a break, go brush your teeth or whatever. I'll be right back. What's up, good people? Ah. All right. I'm back. Now, let's start again. Merciless forgiveness. Not only will the coming shift bring about a social revolution, but it will also bring an end to one of the great searches of modern man. The search for knowledge. The search for knowledge. We will bring an end to the search for knowledge. Gate 61. Through the rupturing of the fourth shadow, understanding will take the place of knowledge. Oh my goodness. And much of the thrust of our modern world will die down. We will no longer need to logically make sense of the paradoxes of existence because our new center of awareness will give us a physical and energetic understanding of existence. Thus, the role of logic in our world will alter. It will no longer be used to defend our prejudices and fears, and it will no longer be used for purely personal benefit. Oh my goodness, now I'm seeing a whole nother aspect of myself. A whole nother aspect, which is the realization that without logic, without this gate, right? As a quad right, I probably would not have been able um, to navigate this world the way I have. A quad left world for a quad right is very difficult. But my logic, my uh, ability to whatever. Hey, let's not even try to logicize that right now. What I'm saying is my ability to logically understand things um, helped me. But now that we're moving into a new age, into a quad right age in 2027, I have to release that and find that greater understanding. And to find that greater understanding. In order to navigate the new world, to navigate without logic. Yeah. Anyway. Um. Thus, the role of logic in our world will alter. It will no longer be used to defend our prejudices and fears, and it will no longer be used for purely personal benefit. Logic at its highest frequency is a means to orchestrate the most efficient society possible. True efficiency is based upon a higher holistic understanding of living systems. Once our understanding shows us how connected we all are to each other, we will see for ourselves that selfishness is the most inefficient frequency of all. Let's read that again. True efficiency is based upon a higher holistic understanding of living systems. Once our understanding shows us how connected we all are to each other, we will see for ourselves that selfishness is the most inefficient frequency of all. The fourth gift forms the launch pad for an even more refined frequency, the city of forgiveness. Forgiveness is born out of understanding, but it occurs when a being makes a leap beyond understanding. Forgiveness is a stage further on from social revolution. Let's read that again. The fourth gift forms the launch pad for an even more refined frequency, the city of forgiveness. Forgiveness is born out of understanding, but it occurs when a being makes a leap beyond understanding. Forgiveness is a stage further on from social revolution. Just because a person has understanding and good intention does not mean that they can orchestrate a perfect society. History has shown that revolutions never change the world, they just change society, and usually only briefly. The highest possibility of the 49th gene key is the city of rebirth. And this is the city that always awakens alongside forgiveness. Goodness. As we have seen, understanding leads to the urge to serve the totality through instigating some kind of social reform. Forgiveness, however, is a pure citic state, and as such, it has no sense of restlessness at all. All citic states are the end of the line. They represent the absolute transcendence of our genetics and the end of being human. Forgiveness is the thunderbolt that is released when a being attains Christ consciousness. It is like a kind of cosmic warmth that melts the borders and found boundaries within the world of form. Forgiveness allows the truth behind all form to be seen. Further than that, it allows one to see through and thus become one with truth. There exists a great mystery about the power of forgiveness concerning time. Forgiveness represents an evolving force rather than an evolving force because it literally comes from the future towards the past. It is a divine quality that descends like Christ into the world of form. In descending into human form, forgiveness lays its hand upon all humanity and works its way back through time, burrowing into our collective past, releasing a freeing energy that has lain trapped and stagnant for eons. Forgiveness moves down the ancestral bloodline. Oh my goodness. I literally just said this in an intervision reading that I did. Oh my goodness. This. Okay. Oh my goodness. So grateful. So grateful. Um It is a divine quality that descends like Christ into the world of form. In descending into human form, forgiveness lays its hand upon all humanity, and works its way back through time, burrowing into our collective past, releasing and freeing energy that has lain trapped and stagnant for eons. Forgiveness moves down the ancestral bloodlines of all humanity in this way, dissolving genetic blocks and lifting karmic cures wherever it travels. This is why the city of forgiveness is often credited with being capable of inducing miracles, because it can release a karmic debt that has stagnated for generations. As such debts are released, those in whom they live can move through incredible transmutations. These mysteries are explored in more depth in the 22nd gene key through a transmission known as the Seven Seals. Oh my goodness, I've been... This is all such confirmation of what is happening. I've been talking about studying that particular thing. The fourth city is a primary agent of divine grace. That is to say, it does not adhere to human laws. It concerns the resolution of old debts at all levels. At a purely individual level, the whole process of human incarnation is based around the notion of karmic debt. Until you have paid off all your debts, particularly through your relationships, you cannot escape the game of incarnation and reincarnation, because it is also a part of the ring of union. The fourth city's ultimate role is to bring humanity into a collective union through the resolution of karmic debt, individually, racially, and mythically. Let me read that again. At a purely individual level, the whole process of human incarnation is based around the notion of karmic debt. Until you have paid off all your debts, particularly through your relationships, you cannot escape the game of incarnation and reincarnation, because it is also a part of the ring of union. The fourth city's ultimate role is to bring humanity into a collective union through the resolution of karmic debt, individually, racially, and mythically. In the material realm, we will see this manifesting one day through nations forgiving each other their financial debts. Forgiveness, as such, is really a collective phenomenon, which is why we humans have never been able to control it or fake it. Yeah. It falls upon you like a surprise, and something inside you opens up that was previously choked. It really is a miracle. As more beings bring this city into the world, they play their part in the releasing of humanity's collective karma. As more beings bring this city into the world, they play their part in the releasing of humanity's collective karma. Such beings hold on to nothing in life because they have moved beyond understanding into pure truth. The forgiveness that we know of now is but a tiny shadow in comparison to the beyondness of this fourth city. Pure forgiveness is a universal panacea that radiates in every direction throughout time and space. It is the final answer to end all questions, and when the first atoms of forgiveness finally travel back to the very beginning of time, as they already have, the world we know will begin to dissolve. When all is forgiven, then forgiveness itself no longer exists, only truth. The final destiny of the fourth city is to rupture the connection between the past and the future, between the black and white, between the yin and the yang, to finally bring an end to the logical fabric of space time itself. Hold on, guys. True forgiveness is merciless because it returns everything to its source and is a force of pure annihilation. The ultimate goal of forgiveness is, in fact, to bring an end to the world of form itself. One second. Wow. So so we have this I forget what this one's called, but it's about creativity. And this one is a citrine, solar plexus, right? Um, so we have this intolerance through experiencing or becoming aware of the intolerant energy. Oh, hold on, guys. Hold on. All right. To experience and become aware of my intolerant energy. And realize that brings me to the understanding, right? Because that's really all that it is when you're doing shadow work, right? You're shining a light on a particular thing that you deal with in life. You're shining a light on the shadows to say, you know what, I see you, right? So to become aware of this shadow, to become aware of this intolerance, is the the shining of the light on it, which brings me to the next frequency of understanding. And in that understanding, continuing to work through this deep shadow, deep past life lesson of mine through my relationships. To teach me the expansiveness of forgiveness, to teach me the fact that there are no limits. No limits that forgiveness cannot reach. Which brings me to truth. To contemplate that forgiveness brings you to truth. That's something to contemplate. If I feel like I am, uh, there's no one that I need to forgive. But is there? What deeper, deeper, deeper? Remember, it's talked about ancestral karmic debt being wiped out. Like, if I don't have anyone left to forgive, it makes me search my relationships uh, much more thoroughly. It makes me search the people in my life much more thoroughly, but it also reminds me that, boom, this is how you start merciless forgiveness. It's merciless. Like, there's nothing can stop it. So it goes beyond my own sphere of influence, even. That's something to contemplate. The reach of my forgiveness. But I said something in an intervision reading um, just recently, and I shared a version of it. It was maybe 2, 3 sentences on Facebook, but it was about our ancestors. It was about how we are made up of our ancestors, and because we're made up of our ancestors, when we're speaking to our ancestors, we're really speaking to ourselves. Parts of ourselves, aspects of our psyche, aspects of our bodies, all of that. And when I was in trance for the reading, that is one of the deepest revelations I got for him, but it was so universal that I said, I got to share this, because to ask for forgiveness from your ancestors, knowing this, knowing that I am my ancestors, is to ask for forgiveness from myself. Yes, I want forgiveness. So yes, I'll give forgiveness. Who doesn't want to forgive themselves? And when forgiveness dawns on the inside of me, who wants some? Who wants some? You can have it. Everybody can have it. Everybody can have it. That's how you do things in the name of Christ. If the archetype of Christ, and I'm not talking about Jesus, if the archetype of Christ, KRST, is an archetype that forgives, dies, is reborn, it's a new dawning. It's all about transformation. It's all about rebirth. But if the archetype of Christ is going to be experienced that kind of forgiveness, it has to start from within. It has to start from within. If I'm going to radiate forgiveness, I have to have forgiveness for myself first. The divine forgetting, I would call it. Because it's so mental, this fourth gate, because it's so logical, because it's so mental structure, paradigm based off of experiences type stuff, patterns, all that stuff that I just read. Like, that is where I'm like, I've always talked about that in the past, an aspect of it, I should say. I've always talked about releasing paradigms or not operating off of paradigms, the mental structures of your mind and all that kind of stuff. And it mentioned that in there. That's why I was kind of laughing at some of the shadow nature and all that kind of stuff, because when it talked about going against religions and all that kind of stuff, like I've been there, I've done that, 12 years ago, talking to bishops and pastors and arguing these points and the logical this and that and all of that stuff. And it was somewhat righteous for me, because as a defined heart-centered person who has the energy to prove things, but it led to frustration, which leads me to say that it was not righteous for me. But it led to frustration because nobody listened to me. But the reason why they were not listening to me is because I was offering them something that they did not want, they did not ask for. So, operating outside of my nature of responding to something as opposed to trying to manifest, initiate, all that kind of stuff, being active and all of that. I was really going against my nature. And I realized that. So that was part of the shadow. But to think about that and forgive that, to forgive myself for that. Because before it was like, okay, I see now. Before it was like, I can forgive them because they didn't listen to me or whatever. But now I can look at myself and say, well, damn, I can forgive myself for operating in a state that I should not have been in. I can forgive myself for jumping in a truck to try to make ends meet and all this stuff and not live my design, not be who I am, a creator, a writer, a spiritual worker, all these things. Forgive myself. I can forgive myself for being nitpicky. I can forgive myself forgive myself. I can forgive myself. Because I am the ancestors. I am the divinity. I am all of these people that we call upon. It's me. It's here. You forgive yourself. All else is forgiven. That is the sacrifice of Christ, right? The death of your mental paradigm, the burial of it, and the resurrection of a new one. To forgive oneself is it's a heavy ass thing. And I'm thinking about the expression of that. I mean, I guess that would be this right here. Uh, Dramatic expression, externalization of logic, understanding, forgiveness, intolerance, understanding, forgiveness. In Mercury, Leo, all that. And I appreciate y'all, whoever watches this. I pray that you um, are blessed. I pray that you can see yourself in me, forgive yourself. I pray that you allow life to teach you what lessons you need to learn, as I do the same. I just want to be wise. I just want to serve. I just want to serve. The more I work on myself, the more I serve. I love y'all, as I love myself.